Um, so this time I did actually go back and check where we left off last time. So I do kind of remember what we were doing. So last time we were doing the murder. Hamlet and Ophelia were planning Claudius's murder, and they decided to make him read a book. Uh, Basically, that part in Hamlet where they do the play that's exactly like how he murdered the king. So they do that, and so we became Claudius, and we were reading the book, and then at some point we became Hamlet when he killed Polonius, and so that's the last thing we did was this option down here that says in which Hamlet is trapped in a room with Polonius's corpse. So I think we should maybe start with that one, or I don't know. Maybe we should we go back and try to read the book again? I'm actually not sure. I want to do the thing that, like, I want to do the ones that, like, closes off the options, and then we can go back and follow new paths, you know what I mean? So, like, I want to know which one's the one that has the least options, so we can do that first. Yeah, whatever. We'll be Hamlet trapped in a room with Polonius' corpse, why not? Okay, we wanted to kill our stepfather earlier, but why not kill Ophelia's father instead? Obviously, that's a really good decision. Leave the room with Polonius, find a nice empty room with a nice curtain, and we tell Polonius to stand behind it. He does, and we stab him through the curtain. Oh, I am slain, he says, his eyes roll back in his head. Oh, it was much sooner than I expected. When I've got a body to hide, and it's not even the body you wanted. Nice going, Hamlet. Thinking quickly, you close the door to the room, so at least you won't be discovered for a while. Unfortunately, you forgot that the key is on the other side of the door, so now you've locked yourself into the room with the body of the man you just murdered. Whoops. Suddenly, you hear someone coming down the hall. If they reach this room and find you here, it'll be game over. You must dispose of the body and or escape the room before being discovered. You have 8 turns remaining. The lights turned off. Okay, we can look around the room or try the door again. Maybe it's not really locked. I don't remember what we did last time. It's locked, and the noise attracts the person at the end of the hallway. Have you locked yourself in there? You hear? Hold on, I'll open the door for you. I'm running now to get there faster. I will get there really soon now. Nice going, dude. You only have 1 turn remaining. Try to act casual. There's probably a window behind that curtain. Jump out the window to escape. Okay, we'll jump out the window to escape. You go and stand on the window ledge. Looking down, you see a 5-story drop beneath you. You jump out, which is fun. Fall 5 stories, which is terrifying. Hit the ground, which is incredibly painful. Break your arms and legs and neck and squirt out blood everywhere and die, which it turns out is fatal. Yep, dying is fatal. The end. Listen, man, real talk. Nobody's gonna judge you if you go back a bit and do things differently. Oof. Look at us, we just went splat. What's this? Woohoo, we found a piece of artwork. Unlocked some artwork. Alright, our stats. Choices made 2, times you were 0, times you were not 1. Okay, restart from a checkpoint. Let's go back to that room. Let's see what else we can do. Okay. Let's try the door again, and then what happens if we try to act casual? You whistle and sit yourself down on the floor in the middle of the room. That seems a little awkward, so you stretch out on your side, your arm supporting your head and your other arm resting on your hips. There, nobody could be more casual than you. The door opens, and who should enter but Carambus, Polonius' twin brother. You recognize him from the royal courts. I unlock the door so you can leave now. He begins, but then cuts himself off. Hey, what's going on? Carambus looks around. Why are you acting so casual? How come you stabbed that curtain? He looks behind the curtain and sees what you did. He begins to scream and scream and scream, and whether you decide to kill him or not, a bunch of other people are running over here and you're pooched. Claudius discovers your crime and puts you to death. Your last words are, "Oh geez, if only I'd been better at covering up my murders. Had I only the chance to do it again, I would most certainly dispose of that body differently." Hobbs, says the hangman at the end. Okay, I do remember that's what we did last time. I think we, like, chopped the body up and, like, threw it out the window or something. I think that's the this picture. I think that's what we did, last time we played. I mean, that's super casual. Just chilling. The dead body behind the curtain. Okay. Choices made 2 times you were 0 times you were not 1. Games of tennis played 0. Okay, let's try again. Let's try again. Okay, so we're not gonna try to escape. We have to dispose of the body somehow. Okay, look room. I don't see a room here. You have 7 turns remaining. Look chamber. I don't see a chamber here. You have 6 turns remaining. Frig, look area. I don't see an area here. You have 5 turns remaining. Look enclosure. You use up one of your turns observing the room extremely carefully. You see a medium-sized square room with a curtain on the wall opposite the door. Light escaping from beneath the curtain suggests there's a window on the other side. Pulling the curtain back, you see there is indeed a large window, big enough to fit yourself or a body through. Looking down, you see you're about 5 stories up from the ground. Turning back from the window to face the door you just locked, you see on the right wall a fireplace with what it smells like a pot of stew simmering. On the facing wall to the left is a table upon which some twine and several tightly woven but light-looking bags sit. The room is lit by several torches on the walls. I think you're in a kitchen. In your inventory, you have the sword you just used to stab Polonius. Polonius's body is here behind the curtain. You have 4 turns remaining. Use sword on Polonius's body, throw Polonius's body out the window, or jump out the window to escape. Use sword. Using your sword, you begin to chop Polonius's body into smaller pieces. You begin by separating the limbs and head from the body. I think we did that last time. That completed, you work on reducing the torso to smaller chunks of meaty gore. It's difficult, disgusting work. Blood gets everywhere. Everywhere. You have 3 turns remaining. There are a lot of body parts here. I'm pretty sure we dumped them out the window last time, but I just want to see if that's the only option here. You throw each meaty chunk of Polonius out the window, and each hits the ground with a moist thump. Let's take stock of things. You're now covered with blood, in a room covered with blood, with a bunch of bloody body parts lying on the ground 5 stories beneath you. There's someone about to unlock the door, and you need to look non-suspicious or you'll get caught. Okay. Light the door on fire. You tackle wood from the fireplace and attempt to light the door on fire. However, since this is real life and not Fantasyland, the door does not burst into flames instantly, but instead just singes a little. You exhaust any remaining turns in the attempt, and as soon as they are used up, the door opens. This has the effect of knocking the burning wood onto your shirt, and that doesn't take nearly as long to catch on fire. The town cries the next day all of the same story. Hamlet catches on fire after killing this guy Polonius, most exciting thing that happened in months. And you know what? It was. Thank you for firing the imagination of your subjects. The end. Okay, I do remember this. I remember that one. Yeah. Okay. Choices made 7 times you were 1 times you were not 0. Okay, let's do it again. So now we can put the body somewhere else. Okay, we look the room, the chamber. Dun, dun. Okay. Use sword on Polonius's body. And then we will put body parts into stew. Okay, this is gross, but okay. You put the body parts into the stew, but it's not only a stew, but it's only a stew pot. It's not big enough to hold a full human body. The dead head of Polonius sticks out on top, along with arms and legs and torso. If you were hoping to disguise the body as stew, this isn't going to cut it. You have two turns remaining. Eat the stew. You begin to cannibalistically consume the remains of your ex-girlfriend's father. The flesh has only been in the stew for a few seconds though, so really all you're doing is eating raw human flesh with some stew on it. Hamlet, you used to be a prince. Now you are a murderous cannibal covered in blood and gore. Your hunger has been reduced by 10%. The body has been reduced by 5%. You have 1 turn remaining. Continue eating stew. Okay, you eat the stew. You know, this would have been a really good stew if someone hadn't put human flesh in it. Even if it had been removed later, it's still gonna be a stew that had human in it. That's gross. The stew is gross. You get caught eating gross stew and it's obvious you're the murderer. You get killed. Your last words are owie, ouch, I'm serious, ouch. If only you hadn't chosen to kill Polonius for no reason, or failing that, had chosen to kill Polonius for no reason and disposed of the body in a clever way. Oh well, as they say, if wishes were horses, we'd all be horses. Your final score is irrelevant. You ate a person, and that's so gross that I kinda don't want to have anything to do with you any longer. The end. This was the best ending I could have ever imagined. This is my favorite ending. Uh, this is so good. This is a very good ending. Choices made 8. Times you were 0, times you were not 1. Okay, let's try. We gotta do something else. We can't put the body in the stew and eat it. Apparently, that's not going to cut it. Enclosure. Okay, use the sword on his body, and then instead of putting it into a stew, we'll put his body into bags. Body parts are now each in a bag. Nobody will suspect a thing. Actually, that's not true. Anyone would suspect everything. There's blood everywhere, man. You have 2 turns remaining. There are bags full of body parts here. Dump bagged body parts out the window. The bags burst as they hit the ground. You hate to admit it, but the splatter of gore they create is pretty much the textbook example of suspicious. We jump out the window, we're just gonna crash again, right? If we act casual, they're just gonna find us. And if we eat stew, well, I guess we can eat stew. Food helps me think too. You spend your last turn eating stew right from the pot. Delicious. It's not even gonna lie. It is a really delicious stew. It's among the best stews you've ever tasted in your entire life. In fact, here's the recipe. If this is I'm just gonna screenshot this recipe. I'm gonna eat this Hamlet stew. Everybody, I hope you're writing down this stew recipe. This is a lot. This is legit a recipe for stew. I am gonna screenshot this though. Now we have stew. Ooh, discover a delicious recipe for stew. Fire burn and cauldron bubble. So back to you. You were discovered when the door opens, and then you're put to death because you murdered a guy and hung around to be discovered when the door opened. The stew was really delicious, though. And you got the recipe. You take this recipe to your grave and share it with all the ghosts, translating it from the unfamiliar and bizarre metric and imperial measurements I used here to ghost strict, which uses the interior volume of a spooky skull as a standard unit of measurement. It makes you really popular, you have some really amazing and fun ghost dinner parties, and make a lot of cool new friends you can fly. The end. I mean, that's a pretty good ending for, getting caught being a murderer. You get to go, like, be a ghost and just chill and eat stew with your ghost buddies. Like, what more could you want? Okay. Choices made 8, times you were 0, times you were not 1. Games of tennis played 0. Okay. I think all these sort of options get to be the same. But we'll check it out. Yeah. I want to see what the using the twine on the body is about. Use twine on body parts. You tie a length of twine to each body part. It looks kind of cool, I guess. Your twine supply is reduced to 50%. There's still plenty of twine left, though. Honestly, look at all that twine. You have two turns remaining. There are body parts tied with twine. Here. Use remaining twine to tie wall torches beneath the bags, thereby forming crude hot air balloons. Use remaining twine to tie body parts together to form a giant grizzly bolt. Use remaining twine to tie a tripwire across the base of the door, thereby tripping the apprentice room. I want to see some tiny hot air balloons. You take down the torches from the wall and tie a few beneath each bag. The bags are light but sturdy and quickly fill with hot air from the torches. You now have a collection of hot air balloons, each capable of carrying some load up away into the sky. They will continue rising until the torches extinguish themselves, which could take hours. By that time, they could have floated anywhere. Um, Obviously, this was meant to be to take the body parts away. I just want to see what happens. I know we're not going to make it, but I just want to see what happens if we jump out the hot air balloons. Um, These balloons have enough lift to carry you and then some, which means when you grab hold of all your hot air balloons and jump out the window, your jump keeps going higher and higher. Before you realize what's happening, you're extremely high above the ground and gaining altitude steadily. You can let go of one balloon in order to reduce your lift, but if you reduce too much, you'll start falling at an ever-accelerating pace and hit the ground too fast. Uh-oh. On the other hand, you can't hold on to these balloons forever. Eventually, you'll slip and let go of all of them, which case you'll be dead for sure. Maybe you'll be over water at that point and survive somehow? Wherefore, let's just hold on to the balloons. You hold on, but your palms start to sweat, and before you know it, you're slipping, then you're falling. This isn't looking good, Hamlet. You hit the ground so hard that your legs crumple like an accordion. One of your leg bones stabs up through your chest and pierces you right through the heart. Jesus Christ. Didn't think that was possible, neither did I, but hey, here we are. Ouchie. That's the last thing you think. Ouchie. The end. P.S. You don't come back as a ghost, but you do come back as a tiny smelly bug that gets stepped on real quick, so that's something. Ouchie. I honestly didn't think that was going to happen when I picked the hot air balloon option. Okay. Okay, what other hot air balloon options can we choose? That's the thing about this, it's like you start going down a path and then there's like way more paths than you think it's gonna be. Okay, so we chopped him up and then we used twine and then we made hot air balloons and now we should tie the body parts to the hot air balloons. Tying the body parts to the hot air balloons is the easy part, surprisingly. You manage to balance the load, i.e. chunks of human flesh, across balloons so that each balloon is positively buoyant. The hard part is moving them around in this relatively tiny and low-ceilinged room. You get one balloon out the window, but in doing so knock a torch onto the curtain, leaving it considerably charred. You get another out, but manage to upset the pot over the fireplace and get stew all over the floor. Not the stew. With not much else left to damage, you get the remaining balloons out the window and watch as they float off into the sky, carrying most of the events of your crime miles and miles away, each to land in a different area. Okay, but can you just imagine, uh, these balloons are floating like for miles, and then you're just like in some village, and it just starts raining like body parts, gore, viscera. Uh, and please, who would bother investigating the discovery of just a single body part? Hopefully nobody, that's who. Turning around, you see the door open, and who should enter but Corambus, Polonius' twin brother. You recognize him from the royal courts. I unlock the door so you can leave now, he begins, but cuts himself off, shocked. What happened here? You smile in what you hope is a common manner. As you can see, I was preparing stew when I tripped. Stumbling backwards, I fell onto the table, hitting the wall, which knocked a torch onto the curtain, causing it to almost catch on fire. As I shoved the remaining torches in the stove, wow, I can't read, stove to destroy them without a trace and prevent further fire hazards, I knocked over the stew, causing it to get everywhere, including on myself. That looks like blood on you, though, says Columbus. Nope, it's stew, see? You say, and then you drive the finger across your arm and lick off the stew. It's disgusting. You throw up a little in your mouth, then you throw up a little on the ground. Columbus looks at you. I'm not a particularly talented chef, you say. Well, He begins and then pauses. He seems to reach a decision. Be careful next time, okay? You got it, bro, you say. You smile. Rambus looks at you and leaves. Nobody will miss Polonius. Murder that guy Polonius for no real reason. Plus 10 conversation points and plus 5 max hit points. Congratulations, you've gained 10 conversation points. Your maximum hit points have gone up by 5. And you have completed the optional side quest of Nobody Will Miss Polonius, Murder That Guy Polonius for no real reason. Unfortunately, Carambus only has a 1 in 2 chance of dropping loot upon quest completion, and it didn't work out for you this time. On the plus side, you have successfully killed a man, but it wasn't the man you were supposed to kill, remember? Claudius, the king who killed your dad? Anyway, before you started this murder, I'm pretty sure your mom wanted to talk to you. Go talk to your mom. Dude, we made it through this whole thing. Now we have to continue the story. Hey mom, what's up? You say. She jumps back from the curtain. She was just admiring and not messing with at all. Hey Hamlet, she says. Listen, you were a dick when you messed up Claudius's reading earlier. I didn't mess up anything, you say. He's the one who read the murdery options. If anyone messed up, it's you because you married Dad's brother. That's messed up, Mom. What are you going to do? Murder me, your mom says. Are you going to murder me? What? You say, honestly confused? No, why would you even think that I... Help! She screams at the top of her lungs. Mom, calm down. I'm not going to kill you. She looks at the curtain, then at you. Why were you walking around with a sword then? She says, eyeing you suspiciously. I'm a prince and it is the fashion of the time, you say. How come it's got blood on it, though, she says. You say, that's not blood, that's stew. Oh, weird, she says. Wow, this whole castle was super credulous. Anyway, she tells you that she's tired of covering for your crazy behavior all the time, and you tell her you're an adult and she's not the boss of you anymore. She says as long as you live under her roof, it's her rules, so you shout that you're going on a road trip with your friends to do whatever you want. She says she hopes you do because she's worried about you and thinks the travel could do you some good. I guess you're going on a trip now. This is a good idea anyway because they're going to notice Polonius missing eventually. And if you're not around, you can avoid some awkward questions about where he is, who killed him, where the body is hidden. Plus, your bros are always up for a trip anyway. You leave and find Rosencrantz and Guildenstern nearby, and you tell them that you're going to go party in England and you're going to get there by boat. And do they want to come? If they do, please could they say what sort of vehicle they will be riding to England? Party boat! The three of you shout in unison. Several hours later, you are partying on a boat. Party boat. As the boat sails for England, you catch sight of a huge army sailing towards Poland. There has to be an entire military corps on board. I'm serious, there's got to be 20,000 people all crammed onto a single ship. The ship is too far away from you to communicate by talking or even shouting, but luckily you brought semaphore flags and are fully trained in their use. And as you know, by holding up the two colored flags in different positions, you can spell out letters of the alphabet. And in response, folks on the other ship can send messages back to you. Hey, Hamlet here. What's going on? You say in semaphore. Hey, Hamlet, we were sent by Prince Fortinbras from Norway. He's kind of a rough equivalent of you, come to think of it. Anyway, he's on board, and we're all going to fight over some really terrible land that sucks, comes the signed reply. Really, you signal? Yeah, it's totally sucky land, but what are you going to do? Fighter's going to fight, he signals, and we're happy to do it. Okay, thanks, you reply in flag talk. Wow, Fortinbras and his army are ready to fight over something entirely useless, and the Polish are willing to defend it too. These people will fight and kill over nothing, and you can't even kill your uncle even though you have totally valid reasons. Whoa, dude, hold up, you start to feel inspired. Be inspired in free verse, kicking it old school, or be inspired in rhyming couplets, and every couplet has the same rhyme. Let's go old school. You clear your throat and hold out a hand in front of you. Here's what you say. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed, makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare. Even for an eggshell, rightly to be great, is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel in a straw. When honor's at the stake, how stand I then, that have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep, while to my shame I see the imminent death of 20,000 men, that for a fantasy and trick of fame go to their graves like beds, fight for a plot wherein the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. Oh, from this time forth my thoughts be bloody or be nothing worth. Not bad, not bad. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are polite enough to pretend not to hear. They're so great. Wherefore, continue partying on a boat. Partying on a boat is great, but it doesn't last forever. After several hours, the party winds down and everyone starts going to bed. You and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern stumble off to your quarters, three awesome dudes in one awesome room. One awesome party room? The next day you wake up still feeling the effects of the previous night's partying. You put on your shirt, but it feels different. Turns out it's Rosencrantz's shirt. Wow, as you pull it off, a letter falls out of the pocket. Rosencrantz wakes up, teases you for wearing his clothes, and then notices the letter. Hey, Hamlet, you dropped something, he says. No, man, you say it's your letter. This is your shirt. You pass him the garment. He has the shirt. It's not my letter, bro, he says, pulling it over his head. Someone must have slipped it to me sometime yesterday. What's it say? Flipping it over, you notice it's got the royal seal on the back. It's from King Claudius, you say. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern say the following. What? What do you do? I mean, open the letter. I'm gonna open it, you say. This is what you read. Dear King of England, it's me, Claudius, the King of Denmark. Listen, we get along pretty well, right? And both our countries are in pretty good shape. Anyway, it'd be really convenient for me, and it would help both our countries stay in good shape. You could kill Hamlet for me real quick. It's not that big a deal, just kill him, okay? Cool, cool. P.S. I'm 100% serious, please kill him right now. You and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern stared at each other for a long moment. Looks like this whole time while you were planning to kill Claudius, he was also planning to kill you. Dude, are you scoping this letter's choice assassination orders? Asked Rosencrantz. I told you, man. I told you about Claudius, Guildenstern yells. Maybe you heard my free verse from last night, you say? It was extremely tight. Seal of approval. Commit mail fraud. What do you do? Figure out a plan with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. You and your bros come up with a plan. It goes as follows. You replace the letter with a forgery you wrote together that reads, Hey King, can you make it so that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are given fancy houses and made princes and given all the cool things it is possible to have? As they are extremely awesome, but please do not mention this letter or its contents ever again to me, Claudius, the man who is writing this letter right now. If you do see me, then this letter comes up, and then I claim I did not ask for these things, then I'm lying. I like to pretend sometimes that I didn't write letters, but it's just pretend. Haha, I can never take this back. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are awesome. Hamlet's rad too. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are way awesome, though. You replace the official seal with a forgery since you're wearing a ring and it bears the royal seal. This is surprisingly easy. You decide that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern will deliver the letter while you catch the next boat back to Denmark to kill Claudius. You're at this stage in fulfilling the plan when pirates attack. What now? Pirates? Nobody said there were pirates. Holy cow, this book just got awesome. Thank you, you're too kind. Let me set the scene. You, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern rush above decks at the sound of the lookout yelling, Pirates ho! Following his arm pointing to the horizon, you see a ship sailing directly towards you with alarming speed. Her disguise of a Danish flag being lowered as the black flag with a grinning skull and crossbones unfurls in its place. It's pretty badass. Behind her, huge storm has gathered, lightning striking into the water. Both are headed straight for you. She's a magnificent ship, three-masted beauty running 50 meters long from bow to stern. She slices cleanly through the sea with the wind filling her sails. 1,400 tons of boat, a symphony of wood, cloth, brass, and iron. She's as tall as she is long, with each of her masts proudly carrying 4 gargantuan rectangular sails. Rigging of baffling complexity stretches between each mast, its crossbars in the side of her hull. She carries 26 cannons on her port side and 26 on her starboard, each loaded and at the ready. She's running with her gun ports open. She also sails with 2 forward-facing cannons mounted on her bow, beneath which protrudes the beautifully carved figure of a mermaid. Over 150 strong and able men, all pirates, call her home. The painted and polished red wooden letters affixed to her hull betray her name, Calypso's Gale. You, on the other hand, are on a party boat, HDMS Vesselmania 4. Your boat is a mere 100 tons, her armaments a slight 6 cannons per side. Vesselmania's 2 smaller masts bear a small triangular sail each. Her crew of 20 is inexperienced and young. Her captain, with whom you've only had a passing acquaintance, seems fresh out of captain school, if that is even a thing. He's there at your side now, barking orders left and right. Men haul up the sails and run below decks to prepare the cannons. It is a scene of barely controlled chaos, and that's when you hear the first report of cannon fire. Both shots hit their target. The pirates are firing chain shot, 2 cannonballs tied together with a length of heavy chain stuffed into a single cannon, designed to tear apart sails and rigging as they blast through it. The first shot tears apart some of your rigging on your forward sail, but luckily nothing critical is damaged. The second shot hits low, and instead of tearing into the sails, it decapitates the captain in an instant. His headless, bloody body drops at your feet. What do you do? Pirates, this is so awesome. Yes, well, the bad news is they're not messing around. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern take one look at the bloody corpse of the captain lying at your feet, rush below decks, tripping over each other on the way down the ladder. The first mate is staring at the captain's body in shock. A huge burst of lightning flashes across the darkening sky, and rain begins to fall on Vesselmania's deck. Calypso's Gale is gaining on you, and her forward cannons are being reloaded. The distance between the 2 ships is decreasing by the second. What do you do? Take command of this vessel. I'm assuming command of this vessel, you say, taking the hat off the captain's head and putting it on your own. The crew acquiesces easily. You're the oldest person on board, and you are also royalty. Lucky for you. Report, you order. Mainsail is undamaged. Adjunct rigging of the secondary sail has been destroyed by cannon shot, but repair crews have been dispatched, replies your first mate. Hull integrity at 92%. We're sailing in a broad reach. You recall enough sailor talk to know that means the wind is at your back, but you're sailing at a slight angle to it. It's the safest way to travel, as traveling with the wind exactly at your back makes for a faster but less stable boat. You normally want to minimize your chances of losing control. On the other hand, with pirates on your tail, maybe now isn't the time to worry about safety. What are your orders? Shouts the first mate over the roar of the wind and sea. More speed, continue the speed, or face the pirates. Let's speed racer it. Put the wind at our back, you order. Your first mate says, "Aye, sir," and begins barking commands to the crew. Set sails leeward. We'll be running before the wind, boys. The crew adjusts the sails quickly, and you can feel it as the boat gains speed. You look behind you, expecting to see Calypso's gale fade from view, but even with the wind fully at your back, the pirate ship is still gaining. It wasn't enough. Calypso's gale fires again. The chain shot tears through WrestleMania's stern and exits to the port side of the hull, thankfully above the waterline. Orders, Captain. You stare at Calypso's gale through the spyglass. The square shape of her rigging reminds you of something. What now? Continue, turn around, try to remember everything you know about sailing before you answer. Let's see what happens if we just continue. The wind at your back fills your two sails to capacity and even beyond, but I'm sorry, it's not nearly enough to outrun the pirates. You've got 2 sails, they've got 12, the math just doesn't work out. Calypso's gale sidles up beside you, fires all her guns at once, and you explode in disgrace. I mean, I guess, I feel like there's no point in them just blowing you up, because then they have nothing to pirate, um, unless they just really hated Hamlet or something, and just wanted to blow him up. Like, the whole point of being a pirate is that uh, go on board and steal stuff to sell, right? Stealing, that's piracy. You're not just sinking ships really for no reason. Not random party boats, at least. But whatever. Choices made 19, times you were 0, times you were not 1. Okay, let's see. I guess... I feel like we should go back to, like, the corpse thing. Because, like, we're getting too far into, like, the Hamlet storyline. And we'll get to be Hamlet later on. Because we haven't started from Hamlet, like, at the beginning yet. The only reason we've gotten to play Hamlet is because it has switched characters on us. I think I'm gonna go back to the corpse thing and see what other options there are. Use the sword on him. Use the twine on the body parts. I hate that the lights always turn off like that. Was there something else to do with the hot air balloons? I don't remember. Oh, we could eat stew again, but yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Now go back. Okay, tie the body parts together. Yeah, let's do that. Tie the body parts together. Your giant bolus weighs as much as a human man and is thus entirely impractical. Actually, it's less bolus and more a bunch of chunks of human flesh all tied together in the middle of the room. You have failed spectacularly at looking less suspicious. You have 1 turn remaining. There's a giant human bolus here. Well, we've tried jumping out the window to escape, and that doesn't work. And we've tried lighting the door on fire, and that doesn't work. So let's tie the twine across the base of the door to trip whoever enters the room. When you are out of turns, the door opens, and who should enter but Caramus, Polonius' twin brother. You recognize him from the royal courts. I unlock the door so you can leave. Blah blah. He trips over the twine, stumbling into the body parts you've left in the middle of the room. Incredibly, they do function as intended, and his leg is instantly tangled in your bolus. He trips over the body's parts, falling to the ground. On the ground, he gets a good look at what's happened in this room, and he begins to scream and also vomit everywhere. This is turning into a difficult day. It turns into a much more difficult day after you get killed for those awful things you did to Polonius. Nobody even likes your bolus. The end. Well, it'd be like that, I guess. Okay. What else? What else? What else? I'm like, was that all we can do? That might have been all we can. Okay. So there's nothing else we can do by chopping him up. What if we just straight up throw him out the window? Lift Polonius' still warm body to the window and push it out over the edge. It hits the ground with a sickening crack, and you see his limbs and neck now rest at unnatural angles. Blood bursts out from his corpse and gets all over the place. You're now left in a room with a bloody stabbed curtain a few stories up from the mangled body of your ex-girlfriend's father. This isn't going to look good if anyone finds you like this, especially if they should happen to look out the window. Um, Burn curtain using fire from fireplace. You take a log from the fireplace and light the curtain on fire. It doesn't really burn that well as it has blood on it, but you char it a bit. Blood's everywhere, man. You're pretty sure you wasted a turn. Well, we already know what happens if we do those things, so let's go back. Push his body out, and then will his body cushion our fall? We hit Polonius' body and break our legs. Blood squirts everywhere, but luckily most of it is his. You lie there crying out in pain for your remaining 3 turns until you see a head peering out over the window ledge down at you. Did you murder that dude and then jump on his body, he asks. You continue to scream in agony. I think you murdered that dude and then jumped on his body, he says, and ducks back inside the room. 2 minutes later, you hear voices from inside the room as you begin to fade from consciousness. Since this is olden times, we don't really have the medical expertise to help with infection, and Hamlet is lying on a messy corpse with open wounds, you hear. Man, Polonius hasn't been dead for that long, you think, but you don't know that. There are lots of gross bacteria in the colon, and you burst Polonius' guts all over the place. Anyway, you get an infection, a couple of them in parallel actually, and you die the end. What can I say? It's a really gross death. The end. Let's all stop talking about it. Gross. Okay, we're almost getting it through. We're almost getting through this bit. A couple more options. So throwing his body out the window, not gonna work, I don't think. I can just hawk my way out of this. Be cool, act casual. You whistle and sit yourself in the middle of the room. No, we did this last time. Larnice's brother comes in, and yeah. Okay. So that didn't work out. So if we jump out the window, then we just die. So I think we're out of options in this. Yeah. So let's just get it over with. Let's just die, and then Okay. So it looks like we want to run all our options of being in a room with a dead body. So I think we can go back to Claudius reads a book. Okay. So now we are Claudius, and we're reading this book in front of the royal court. Yeah. You are Battle Lord Pete, or as you prefer to be called, Dragon Master 3000, since you are the master of 3000 dragons. Oops. Okay. What if we pick ones... Yeah, if we do all this stuff, then we end up... Same one as last time. I can't remember all the exact choices we made last time. Okay, let's say kill skeletons. Skeleton Cove. Battle Lord Pete, you pick up your trusty battle axe and stroll into Skeleton Cove where you heard all the skeletons hang out. You encounter your first skeleton. He bows theatrically and introduces himself as Skeleton of the East Coast Skeletons. Cut him up with your axe or tell him you're pleased to meet you, then inquire if you can ask him a few questions. You slice your opponent into a million pieces, cutting him over and over again. Yes, this is all you want out of life. To attack more skeletons, imagine doing that now. Single-handedly stop an invasion of your land. Wait, now you want to go kill your brother like you could do before. Let's poison him in the ear. Your homeland was just attacked by a ruthless, cunning skeleton invader, and you alone are our last best hope for a bloody, vengeful counterattack. You decide that the best counterattack is a preemptive attack, so you journey to Skeleton Homeland, and on the way, you start cutting up fools before they can even invade. Things are going really well until you actually reach Skeleton Homeland, where it's like 30,000 against 1. You die really quick. Oh, and I didn't mention earlier, but guess what? If you die in the book, you die in real life. Yeah, you blew it, and you're totally dead. The end. Damn. That's a really effective way to kill your uncle, then. Make him read a book where if he dies in the book, he dies in real life. Bears married. 0, that's a new one. Um, we're just gonna read this book a few times then. Nice kill skeletons. I don't understand the emphasis you're putting on axe to skeleton, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. The battle axe sends his head flying through the air. Skeleton continues talking as his head flies into the sky. Don't worry about harming me, his head says as it flies over the nearby mountain. As I am already dead and this is only an inconvenience, no hard feelings. You grit your teeth and kick over Skeleton's still standing body. I hate to cut and run, you say through your manly grimace as his body collapses into a pile of bones. Then you walk away in slow motion. Knife to meet you say, realizing you really should have used that one sooner, but oh well. You have 2 options now. You can go kill more skeletons by journeying to Skeleton Homeland and smashing everyone there, or you can go home and return to your family. I mean, if we go to Skeleton Homeland, we're just gonna die again, so... Familial possibilities. Husband, wife... Does that say alone? You return to your family and announce that you have killed an alive skeleton. That was my Uncle Skellington, screams your husband or wife, depending on your sexual orientation and life choices. If you are not married, you scream it to yourself while looking in the mirror as you realize what you've done. Anyway, your husband-wife self is so mad at what you've done that in a fit of rage, they choke you to death, stab you in the head, assist you in committing suicide. It looks like this reasonable option actually resulted in sudden unpredictable death. How is reading a book where someone else decides what happens to you working out, champ? Anyway, you die in the book, and that means you die in real life, too. Surprise! This book is lethal, man. I feel like we're running out of options with this Claudius thing. Because if we pick the kill your brother thing, let's say kill your brother. To adventure and also murder. Poison in the mouth. Let's see. Turn to the appropriate page. Pour the poison into his mouth. Like I'll say, if your brother doesn't wake up. This is the one we did last time, I think. Let's go back. Poison in the ear, maybe. Maybe we didn't do that. Also, who knew ears were the best way to introduce poison in the body? I did, obviously. So I guess any medical doctors in the audience who are about to say, "Excuse me, but I studied human bods for 6 years at university level," can straight up go suck a lemon. Your bro is dead. Poisons really do work that quickly. We want to take the throne. Uh, do. Continue playing as if nothing's wrong. You've killed your brother, married his widow, and now you're king. Congratulations, you scored 400 out of a possible 1,000 points. Now you get to play as the dead king's son and try to reveal your own murderer. You look up from the book. Sweet, this book is a lot of fun, you say, and I assure am completely innocent as to what might happen next. Behind you, Hamlet whispers to himself, man, wait, maybe he didn't do the murders you hear. You return to the book. You are Gonzaga II, or as you prefer to be called, Dragon Master 3001, son of the king and nephew of the Dragon Masters 3000. You have all the powers of your uncle, the 3000th member of the Dragon Master clan. Also, you look a lot like your uncle too, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, you're a prince. Things have been rough lately. You've been trying to focus on your studies at Teen High, where you and your bros, the Wiz, Standard Soft Top, and Heat Shrink Butt Splice all hang out. You've been called home because your father died. Then your dead dad's brother, Dragon Master 3000, married your mother 2 weeks later. Classy. You think your father's recent death was murder, and you suspect it was his brother who did it. Should you investigate his murder, or should you go kill skeletons as if he would have wanted to do himself, that is, if he were still alive? Let's kill skeletons now. To do. Cut him up with your axe, just like your father did. Oh no, he's got a sword. You try to slice your opponent into a million pieces, cutting him over and over again, but it doesn't work. Skeleton the second has a shield. Oh damn. He's also got a sword. You battle back and forth for a while. It's super dramatic. You may choose at this point in your adventure to imagine it. Go all out. It's nuts. Eventually, however, you manage to stab Skeleton the second in the head, and then pull his head off, and then you kick his body into an open grave, and then you say, ashes to ashes and dust to dust, and you crush his skull into dust and pour that on top of the body, so that's cool. What do you want to do now? There'll be more skeletons to kill if you go to their homeland. On the other hand, you could just go home and return to your family. If we go to the skeleton homeland, do we also get killed? I imagine we do. Yeah, it seems to... Yeah, we die really quick. Okay, go back. Okay, so we killed that skeleton, and then go home to our family. And this seems to be the same... Yeah, that seems to be the same. We gotta fuck that one up. Potions misused. Go back. Claudius reads a book. Kill your brother. Poison in the ear. Continue playing. Investigate the murder. You turn to the appropriate page and read about how you're sad from your dad's death, so you dress in black and act all sullen, but you're still looking for something to reveal itself so that you might spring to action and begin your investigation. In the meantime, you're acting weird and making a general nuisance of yourself. There's a cool picture, too. It looks like this. Holy cow, this book is like a mirror image of what's actually been happening lately. It's got both your and Hamlet's characters down perfectly, just with different names, and also the dragon mastery powers don't actually ever seem to come up that much. In fact, there are so many similarities between the book and real life. You bet that if you just went back a bit, squinted your eyes, and did all the correct name substitutions as you read, you could continue reading the book as if it actually was a choose your own adventure book written about Hamlet. So that's what you decide to do. Begin to mentally make all the substitutions necessary while reading this book to make the book match up with what's been going on in real life, and you play as Hamlet. To be he, choose to play as Hamlet. You are Hamlet, you're 30 years old and you're back living at home, but that's okay because your home is a castle. That's right, ladies, you're a prince. Things have been rough lately. You've been trying to focus on your new studies at Wittenberg University, where you and your bros, Horatio, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern all hang out, but you were called home because your father died. Then your dead dad's brother, Claudius, married your mom, Gertrude, 2 weeks later. Yep. It's made you kind of upset. You raced home to comfort her, but she's married your uncle, and that is weird. You feel weird. Right now, you're in the audience chamber of your family's castle here in sunny Denmark. King Claudius is here addressing his court. Laertes and Polonius are here too. Laertes is kind of a jerk, and Polonius is his father. Polonius is also the father of Ophelia, whom you're totally sweet on. She's not here, though. Who knows what adventures she's having as we speak while you're stuck in this drafty castle room listening to other people talk about their feelings. Speaking of speaking, just now Lady says something about how now that Claudius is king and he's attended the coronation, is it okay for him to go back to France? Claudius says, sure. Wait a minute, you'd love to leave too and go back to school away from this weird incesty thing your brother's gotten herself into. This is so gross and weird. What now? Ask Claudius permission to go back to school. You hold up your hand and open your mouth before you can say anything. Claudius addresses you directly, calling you his son. On one hand, that's entirely appropriate since he just married your mom like 2 weeks ago, but on the other hand, he has brought creepy uncle to new heights. Creepy uncle points for that maybe. Say you're not my real dad and storm out of the room. While you're busy doing that, your friend Horatio bumps into you and tells you he's in town for your dad's funeral, mom's wedding, and they served leftover appetizers from one at the other. Ghosts are real. He's seen one, so have a bunch of other guys. He keeps showing up at the same time, and it's pretty sure it's a ghost of your dad. Finally, some adventure, some closure. You agree that you'll come to him tonight to see the ghost when it shows up again. It's such an obvious decision that it kind of feels like you don't even have a choice in the matter. What now? Agree to see the ghost with Horatio. I'll be there 11:30. Now you have 8 hours to blow before it's time to meet ghosts. What do you want to do? See what happens if we go back to being Ophelia. Just we already did this. Okay. Yeah, no, we've done this already. I don't want to be Ophelia. I've changed my mind. Okay. Let's play solitaire. You, Hamlet, Prince of all Denmark, are now sitting in your bedroom and playing solitaire for hours and hours and hours and hours, which is a pretty colossally useless waste of time, especially since you keep cheating. A 5 goes on top of a 3, Hamlet, really. Anyway, at this point, we're 15 games in, and wow, if you're not careful, people might start saying that your tragic flaw is, I don't know, inaction? Inaction man, cheat at solitaire. Eventually, the sun does go down. It's almost 11:30, which hopefully you remember as the appointed hour Horatio told you about, wherein a ghost keeps showing up to bother him. Time to go meet that ghost, huh? Meet up with Horatio and bust some myths about actual ghosts being real. You and Horatio go to where you saw the ghost, play the waiting game. They make the noise to warn everyone that King Claudius is getting wasted, he said. Those trumpets go off every night around this time, he says. Denmark, he says. At this exact moment, something insanely crazy happens. What the frig? A ghost is here. Look, ghost. Don't freak out, but right now you're staring cold in the face of a goose specter. You can't even imagine how crazy this whole situation is. If you're getting too scared, read this next clause over and over until you're not insane with fear anymore. Everything will be okay. Alright, okay. We can do this. With your last shred of sanity, you quickly glance at the ghost, and then you worry that if you stare at the ghost too hard, your brain will realize it's looking at something so insanely impossible that you'll just black out. Anyway, this ghost, you can see through it, but only a little. It's weird. And I'll tell you what the frig else, this ghost does look like your dad, and he's getting closer. What do? Run away. You make a break for it, screaming like a little baby, and Horatio does the same. Holy cow, holy cow, holy cow. You say, jumping over a boulder and hiding behind it. Man, that was intense, Horatio says, hand on his chest. You both sit for a moment, each trying to catch your breath. Hey, let's go back and see if he's still there. Go back. Don't freak out, but right now oh my god. Okay, we can do this. With your last shred of sanity, you quickly glance at the ghost. Yeah. What do? Stare at the ghost and black out. Surprise, you are now the ghost. Before you is the unconscious body of your son Hamlet. It looks like maybe he tripped too many balls. Yeah, that's definitely what happened. There were a lot of balls lying around, and Hamlet tripped on too many of them. Maybe several. Bottom line, too many balls were definitely tripped right here. You expected more from your son than this. To be precise, you expected him to be able to tell him that you were murdered by your brother and that he should, I don't know, revenge your death. Instead, you're staring at a dude you can't even touch. You stick a finger inside Hamlet's head, thinking that maybe if you touch his brain, he'll wake up. But brains don't work that way, at least not with immaterial fingers made out of ectoplasm or whatever. And you don't make your finger solid, which is good because that definitely would have killed him. What now? See if there's anyone else. Horatio looks like he's freaking out. Listen, Horatio, don't freak out. He seems to freak out a little less. That's good. When Hamlet wakes up, can you tell him my own brother murdered me? I'm looking for a little revenge. If he doesn't want to do it, then I'll make sure to revenge you, Mr. Your Majesty's ghost, sir. Just sir is fine, you say, smiling in what you hope is a reassuring way. You look at Horatio for a moment. Well, great, you say. Perfect. Horatio looks at you. You look at him. He scuffs his feet a little. So, I guess that's it with my unfinished work now. Finished. I suppose it's time for me to die for real now. You fade away in a shimmering light, certain that with Hamlet's intensity and Horatio's probable competence at actually achieving goals, you'll be avenged in no time. What could possibly go wrong, right? Exactly. This is 100. This is most assuredly 100% solved for real. It's too bad you couldn't stick around to watch the revenge go down, but you don't make the rules. Hey, I guess you're about to find out who, if anyone, does, right? The end. There's us. Cool. Rosencrantz's 1, Guildenstern's 1. Times borrowing slash lending 0. Okay, so that was a lot. So I think we've done all the we did all the trapped in a room with the corpse stuff, and I believe we've done all the reading a book stuff. Actually, we might go back and do the reading the book, where he like throws it down and like whatever, and then after we do that, we'll see. I don't. That might have been. We'll see if there's any more of the Hamlet and Ophelia planning murder options, and then we might just start playing from the beginning as Hamlet. Because this is we got a lot of checkpoints going on. But let's check out some of the stuff we unlocked this time. Achievements. It's that one. No. Okay. Decisions. That was from the time when we read reading a book within a book. And then this time we got Fireburner and Cauldron Bubble for the stew recipe. We unlocked Inaction Man for going to play solitaire by ourselves instead of doing anything. Mind control. Nobody will miss Polonius when we got away with murder. Seal of approval, is that the one we did? Yeah, commit mail fraud. We got that one. To be he when we became Hamlet. Yeah, okay. And then let's check out the art. That's the book within a book that we're reading. Got that last time. This is us jumping out the window and crashing 5 stories. It's by Mike Krahulik, aka Gabriel, aka the Storm Wizard. Also, this one when we were acting casual after murdering Polonius. It's by Scott C. I don't want to read all that right now. Scott C. This is when we jumped out the window onto Polonius's body. That one's by Jess Fink. That was us catching on fire. We did that one last time. This is us making stew. It's by John Martz, Toronto cartoonist. Here's us being a cannibal. It's by Gillian Goers. No, Gillian Gertz. This was Polonius' twin brother tripping over the twine and then like all the body parts. By Ray Fox. This is us falling. Oh, I forgot about the hot air balloon. Yeah, we didn't finish all the hot air balloon stuff because we could have. No, because it probably would have ended the same way. Anyway, that was us falling off the hot air balloon by Keen Sue. it. A lot. Oh, this one by Jim Zub. Oh, and this is the pirate one. It's by Hack. Okay, so that was all of them. So next time, yeah, we'll figure it out. We're getting there. We've done like basically, I think we've pretty much done everything where we like be all the other characters. We're pretty much like just, I feel like we pretty much just have to go through the Hamlet, like all the actual Hamlet stuff now, because we did King Hamlet, we've done Claudius, and we've done Ophelia, and so yeah, these were just like sort of the last Ophelia options, which are just making us be other people anyway. I think we're basically, and we've unlocked most of the artwork. We pretty much like just have to be Hamlet, which is gonna be fun. So I'm gonna call it quits for now. Thank you for joining me. Have a good night. Goodbye.